Today I fucked up by taking way too detailed notes about all my meetings and daily social interactions. Throwaway account. I am very much a socially awkward individual, growing up. So, I was advised to try to develop more social attentiveness, while masking with behaviors and patterns I had observed so that I could successfully interact with others. As a result, that's led to me creating a daily journal. I basically write down everything and everyone I had interacted with or saw and thought something possible important was said. It became a debriefing exercise helping me let go of social anxiety to let me sleep. I eventually shifted to an electronic journaling system using a personal organizer tool like Notion. It was incredibly useful for schoolwork and professional life, and now my personal life. It helped me establish long-term friendships, and helped me notice when others were in their troughs and might benefit from my help. I was promoted to a leadership role a year ago, and I had to quickly figure out the best ways to help people do their jobs and collaborate. This really challenged me, because as I've mentioned before, I am terrible at reading people in the moment. So I began taking even more detailed notes to be able to better understand my coworkers. I noted down subtle facial expressions, differences in greetings, started to even notice real versus fake smiles, irritability, amount I suspected I irritated them, and more. I was able to use this information to understand when a coworker would be most receptive to feedback and to ideas they may not already agree with. 6 months ago, I graphed the data on a word frequency chart that an AI evaluates as positive or negative for each word and phrase across time to understand if there were time-based patterns I should pay attention to. I noticed the normal before holiday dips and after successful sale peaks, but as I looked at on an individual coworker basis, I noticed a cyclic pattern with some of the words spanning across 3-6 weeks per cycle with some of my coworkers. Specifically, most of the female coworkers, except for my boss who is double my age, and a great mentor to me. I thought maybe I was biasing the data and being sexist, so the last 6 months, I made sure to be constantly on guard for if I was delegating criticism and compliments appropriately and not undervaluing the female members of the team. A few days ago, I went back to graph the data again. Again the same pattern was showing up, except for one of my coworkers who went on maternity leave a week ago. I still didn't understand what I was measuring, until I was trying to fall asleep. And that's when it hit me. I was unknowingly measuring the menstrual cycles of my female coworkers. I immediately realized I had to stop what I was doing, and deleted all the data. Too long did not read. I was too observant to my coworkers, and unintentionally tracked their periods. Honestly seems very useful. Not where I thought the today I fucked up would go. I was expecting a coworker of yours to find and read through everything. Also an interesting perspective of personifying what Google, FB, Amazon are essentially doing to everyone. Reminds me of Abed in Community. Have you ever considered applying for the role of an analyst, profiler with any of the intelligence agencies? LMAO. This is amazing. Cribbing the plot of an episode of Community for Internet Points, we. Today I fucked up by going to someone's apartment on the first date. A few weeks ago, I, 29F, matched with a girl, 30F, who I'll refer to as Amy on a dating app. We hit it off well, and soon moved to texting. After some spicy text exchanges, we planned a date for the coming weekend that included dinner and spending the night together doing all the things we talked about. Prior to the date, we had a discussion about things that were important to us in a relationship. Amy told me that she was okay with me being non-religious and her being Jewish, but she did want me to respect her religion and take some interest in it. However, she did not expect me to convert. I agreed that this sounded completely reasonable. This will be important later. The day of the date comes, I meet up with her, and we go up to her apartment, where I am immediately greeted by her Yorkie. And by greeted, I mean the thing would not stop charging and barking at me. This continued throughout the entire time I was there, and would get even more intense anytime I got up to move. All was going fine-ish until after dinner. We decided to play Mario Kart, and after Amy realized I was very good at it, she demanded I unlock all of the tracks for her while she sat back and watched. When I said no because I didn't want to sit there and awkwardly play video games by myself, she proceeded to have what felt like the beginning of a minor meltdown. A while after Amy composed herself, she brought up the topic of Judaism. It was then that she dropped the ultimatum that I needed to convert to conservative Judaism or else she wouldn't marry me. Amy then began to tell me that she believed interfaith marriages were basically ethnic cleansing. This was entirely contradictory to what she had told me before the date, and needless to say, I was done. At this point it was already past 1 a.m., so I decided to stay and leave immediately in the morning because I wasn't comfortable driving around that late at night. Seriously, DMV drivers are crazy enough in the daytime. So bedtime comes and I go into her room to find that it reeks of dog piss and perfume. Turns out, she's too lazy to take her crazy Yorkie on walks, so she just lets it pee on puppy pads and covers up the stench with perfume. I go to bed, disappointed that nothing went as planned that night. The next morning, which also happens to be my birthday, I wake up at around 8 a.m. She's still fast asleep, but I can't get up or else the dog will go nuts. She sleeps in until nearly 11 a.m., so I'm laying there for hours unable to move, hungry, and needing to pee. As soon as she's up, I start packing up my stuff and getting the hell out of there. But not before the dog bites me on the upper calf. I get home and check my dating profile to see she unmatched me, no major loss there. We had discussed ghosting before the date and she told me how much it's happened to her. Gee, I wonder why. So I decided to do the right thing and text her to let her know this isn't going to work out. She texts back and has the audacity to say that I'm the issue for things not working out. Screw me for not wanting to change a major part of myself to fit the mold for the type of wife she wants, right? So here I am on my birthday, reeking of whatever perfume she had sprayed all over her bed, nursing a dog bite on my leg, and not having the night I expected. Lesson learned. Never go to somebody's home on a first date. At the very least my birthday improved after that. I invited my best friend over, where we laughed over my crazy first date story and ate chocolate cake. Then for dinner, I made myself a pork chop with a butter sauce out of pure spite. Update. I went to the doctor and they gave me a tetanus shot and antibiotics. I was able to contact Amy and she was at least cooperative enough to send the dog's vaccination documents, so no rabies shot for me. I realize now how fucked up it was to stick around on that date as long as I did. But that's why we're here, isn't it? It was definitely a big fuck up on my part and I won't be that patient with someone again. Too long did not read. My date gave me the "convert to my religion or we can't get married" ultimatum on the first date. I was stuck in her home the entire night, her dog bit my leg, and I didn't get laid. You got it all out of the way in one night, not months or years. Considering the alternatives, it was mercifully brief. I can understand your thought process of sticking through this uncomfy date until you decided to a. Spend the night in a room that smelled like piss and b. Decided to lay in the bed for 3 hours because you didn't want the dog to bark. This person set off red flags to the point where you had already decided things weren't going to work out. Who cares if the dog wakes her up? Making someone uncomfortable for 10 minutes would have saved you literally hours of your life. Always choose yourself over a bad date. Go to the Dog bites should never be ignored. Even minor ones can easily become infected. A while after Amy composed herself, she brought up the topic of Judaism. It was then that she dropped the ultimatum that I needed to convert to conservative Judaism or else she wouldn't marry me. Conservative Judaism allows two females to be married to each other? Never knew. In hindsight, it's probably best you didn't get laid. I'm sure that would have resulted in even more religious cookery. TIFU by looking out into the woods seeing a mountain lion. TIFU. I live on a mountain in Maine. On this particular mountain there is confirmed at least one mountain lion living here. It was twilight and I went outside to check on something. I looked out into the woods behind my shed. I froze. Less than 50 feet away from me, I saw a good-sized mountain lion, looking like it was getting ready to stalk me. I could see the position of the legs and the face. It looked like it was ready to start running. I turned around and started running. After a few feet I stopped. I thought to myself, could I even make it back inside the house before this big cat reached me? And then I thought, no, don't be prey, turn around and fight. So I took a deep breath, turned around, started looking around for the lion. I was preparing myself to be the aggressor, to go on the attack. To hopefully scare it away. Couldn't see it. I carefully went back to where I first saw. There it was, exactly like I saw it a few moments earlier. My brain started to catch up then. I took out my phone, I took a picture and zoomed in on it. There is something off about this mountain lion. The reason it wasn't chasing me. It was a tree stump. Joy. I nearly had a heart attack. Good to know that I was willing to face a mountain lion and didn't freeze. TLDR. TIFU by nearly having a heart attack, seeing a mountain lion when I looked out in the woods. Only to find out it was just a tree stump. There is either nothing here or just this link. If I saw that, I'd puma pants. Glad it wasn't a mountain lion. But if at all possible next time, freeze and assess the situation thoroughly before moving. Running is the worst possible thing to do for almost any predatory animal. The chase instinct is very strong and they can easily outrun you. As a default practice, back away very slowly without making eye contact. I do recognize that just like each individual's fear of heights is pretty hardwired into their brain, our own instinctive reaction is also pretty hardwired. Fight, flight, freeze. But it is possible to learn to handle your gut reaction better. For what it's worth, if you are fortunate enough to see a mountain lion, yes, I said fortunate, the chances of it attacking you are damn near zero. Ask anyone who has done any wildlife biology work in their habitat in California or Colorado. Mountain lions will come up and sniff at trail cameras and poke around a research site, 5 or 10 minutes after the researchers leave, and then trip them all the time while they're up. Those cats probably sit and watch them set up their equipment half the time. There are tons of places frequented by people in Yellowstone, Yosemite, etc. where you could spend a day hiking and probably never be more than a mile or two from the nearest mountain lion. And yet people almost never see them. So, you stopped, thought about it, for a while, turned around, didn't see it. You went back to find it. You were about to fight a mountain lion with what? Your bare hands? And since it wasn't behind you, you went back to find it? Let me tell you, that last part wasn't courage. Please, next time don't do that. Unless you have a gun and the target in sight.